Heidelberg. They fell a little short to the Marietta Pioneers and the Fighting Muskies of Muskingum University. Again, if you're joining us late, I'm Brendan Gulick alongside Eric Kwiatkowski. The Yellow Jackets at 5-2, the Pitt-Greensburg Bobcats 0-7. We'll touch more on the keys to the game as we get a little bit later on, as the pregame show coverage continues. But this Pitt-Greensburg team, offensively, they just don't really have much of an answer right now, and they're actually being outscored by almost 25 points per game.
Yeah, when you look at the stats, they're shooting under 30% from three, just around 55% from the free throw line. That's just not going to get it done offensively, and, it's tough. It's tough. This is a young team. You don't have all the pieces that you want together, but it's going to come. It's going to come for this team. So
their three leading scorers, Kyle Bondi, Joe Mancini, and Matt Zanella, last year were their 8th, 9th, and 11th leading scorers. So just goes to show how much they lost from a year ago. But those three players all averaging double figures a night. And, I think the saying is fairly common and accurate. When you get a guy a chance to play with some consistency, I mean, we are talking about college basketball players. Just because they didn't play a lot last year doesn't mean they're incapable.
Totally. And, it takes a lot to just step into that prominent scoring role when you're not used to it. So I give these guys a lot of credit just being able to step into that type of situation.
There's no doubt it's been a difficult year for Sean Strickland, who, if you're a Yellow Jackets fan, that name might ring true to you. He actually spent some time here at Baldwin Wallace. He was an assistant under Sherry Harrer on the women's staff, and he was also the head women's golf coach at BW, but this is his first head coaching opportunity at the college level. He's in Greensburg, Pennsylvania, working for the Bobcats. 7th-year head coach against the 2nd-year head coach, Tom Heil, here in Baldwin Wallace. We'll take a quick timeout. When we come back, the national anthem will have concluded, and we'll give you the starting lineups. It's the Bobcats and the Yellow Jackets coming up shortly on BWYellowJackets.com. Back on BWYellowJackets.com as Baldwin Wallace and the University of Pittsburg-Greensburg get ready for a non-conference matchup at Ursprung Gymnasium. Time for the starting lineups, and we will begin with the visiting Bobcats from Greensburg, PA. Head coach is Sean Strickland. He's assisted by Jake Hartman, Marty Ponishchek, William Johnson, and Harry Bowser. At guard, a freshman from Fairchance, Pennsylvania, David Knox. At forward, a sophomore from Saxonburg, PA, Matt Zanella. At guard, a junior from Pittsburgh and North Allegheny High School, Joe Mancini. At forward, a freshman, 6'6", from Shellersburg, Pennsylvania, Jay Grubb. And a 7-foot freshman forward from Franklin, Pennsylvania, Nate Burt. So it's Knox, Zanella, Mancini, Grubb, and Burt. For the Yellow Jackets and head coach Tom Heil, he's assisted by Brian Schmidt, Keonta Howell, and Sam Amico. At point guard, the senior from Hudson, Zach Brandy. Freshman guard from Brunswick High School, Michael Curing. Alex Nara, the freshman forward from Mayfield, gets the start. Cam Kuhn is a junior guard from Vermillion, and the junior 6'7" forward from Norwalk, and the team's second leading scorer at the moment, Jake Featherolf, who is averaging a double-double, 12 points and almost 12 rebounds per contest. Brandy, Curing, Nara, Kuhn, and Featherolf for the Jackets. Baldwin Wallace in their home whites, and you'll see the Bobcats come out looking much like their sister school in Pittsburgh, at the University of Pittsburg, but this is a program from Greensburg, Pennsylvania. I know it'll probably be a statistical-based key to the game, but how about a thought going into it here on what you'd like to see BW do?
I'd like to see Tom Heil get the freshmen incorporated early. You know, this is their first career starts, and it'll be nice to see how they incorporate them in the offense today.
That 7-footer is going to be a big pain in the middle.
Yep.
We'll see how quickly Nate Burt gets worked into things in the early going. Zanella goes back out to the arc where Mancini tries to circle around, and his scoop up and in is easy. Joe Mancini makes it 2-0 right out of the gate for UPG. Cam Kuhn up the floor. He's had a terrific season, almost 20 points per game. Kuhn is a junior from Vermillion and likely to be one of the best in the conference again as he gets off and rolling with a 3 early in this one.
We've talked about it earlier before the game. Cam hasn't been shooting the ball particularly well, only 22% from 3, but it's really nice to see him get going early, get a wide open shot to get that confidence up.
It didn't take long. The feed for the 7-footer was a little too tall. Hard to believe that. And so the Jackets take it the other way with a 1-point early advantage. Freshman Curing, triple try, nothing but net. Baldwin Wallace hot out of the gate with a couple of 3 balls, and the Jackets lead it 6-2.
Well, they shoot about 33s a game. You know, if you're going to shoot them, you have to make sure they go in at least a pretty good consistent rate. So
the good news is Baldwin Wallace is averaging 9.3 3 balls put in per contest. So they might shoot them a lot, but when you get 27 points per game from beyond the arc, things usually go your way. 6 on the shot clock. They've got to hurry. Mancini needs some help. To the top of the arc, this is Grubb forcing. And he put it in. A 3 from just out front. 3 of the 4 baskets so far in the ballgame have been from beyond the perimeter. Baldwin Wallace just underway with the University of Pittsburg at Greensburg. If you just tuned in, there's a shot coming from the right corner. That 3 ball too long from Alex Nara, but the offensive board put up and in. Jake Featherolf getting in the early going.
We saw his ability to rebound and score the basketball both in that sequence. It's very easy for him.
Featherolf's first bucket. Nice job by Kuhn to poke it away in the paint. And the Jackets save it from going out of bounds. BW had gotten off to a 4-0 start this season. Beautiful fast pass from Kuhn to Featherolf underneath, who accidentally fell over. Anyways, the Jackets had gotten off to such a good start before tripping up against the number 4 ranked nationally Marietta Pioneers. Another turnover as BW brings it the other direction. Great first step there from Kuhn as he finds Curing. He hit it! 11-5. The Jackets have already hit 3 3-pointers. Looking underneath. That was pretty easy for Nate Burt.
Yeah, he kept the ball up high, which is easy to do when you're 7 foot, but you're that much closer to the rim, I guess.
Makes things a little easier for sure. 4-point edge for the Baldwin Wallace Yellow Jackets. We are in the 4th minute of play so far. Featherolf on the baseline, finds Curing again. He hit another! How about 3 for Michael Curing in the early going?
I love to see it. There's no hesitation in that jump shot. He just lets that thing fly. 3 for 3 so far.
He's got 9 of the team's 14 and 3 of the first 4 three balls.
How about that for your first start as a freshman?
Curing bounces, Brandy to the hoop, and it's swatted away. UPG's able to keep it in play, and they like to play at a fast pace. That's nothing new to them. Mancini on the near side. Into the high post. Zanella puts it in. 14-9. First basket for Zanella. Sophomore forward from Saxonburg. He went to Knock High School. Brandy in the middle of the paint with a bounce pass in the last second, but the Jackets are finding much less success from underneath the rim. In transition, 3-ball left wing, and it's too long for Mancini. Zanella's put back, tightens up the contest to a 1-score game. It's almost as if UPG is daring the Jackets to shoot from the outside early on.
Yeah, well, they've had a lot of success with it. I'm surprised as Fedorov shoots his first 3 of the night.
That one did not fall. UPG grabs the rebound. Cam Kuhn was trying to draw a foul on Nate Burt going into the paint, but it didn't work originally. Burt from 18. That was close. Didn't drop for him. BW by 3. 5 UPG Bobcats waiting to check in as Curing almost connected on another one. Offensive rebound, finally pulled down by Nara. Kuhn back to Nara. Beautiful feed for 2.
He got those defenders to commit to him. He's such a great scorer. They always want to focus on him. A nice little dish off to the freshman for the easy score.
His first basket of the evening. A little over 5 minutes into the game, Jackets lead it by 5 points thanks to 4 early 3-pointers, 3 of them by the freshman from Brunswick, Michael Curing. That one rolled over the top of the rim, and it's Curing who's feeding Cam Kuhn in transition. He'll try a deep shot. Did not fall, but feather off there. How about one from Brandy? Nope. Kuhn the offensive rebound, a 3rd try coming. Brandy on the right wing. Good look underneath. I'll tell you what, the 7-footer Nate Burt creates an issue when he's up high in that post.
Yep.
The Jackets are passing it by him. 18-11. Bobcats are actually coming off of their highest scoring game of the year. They put up 90 in a loss at Deauville, but they lost by 18 points.
Yeah. You know, the problem for them is, you said it, they're scoring 69 points a game, but giving up 93 per game, that's just under 25-point differential. So
Curing wants another. Couldn't find the bottom of the net there. Featheroff bails him out. Back to him. Great feed underneath, and Nara puts it in. Nice run here with 6 consecutive points for Baldwin Wallace. It's 20-11. High off the window. Good look there from David Knox. And a timeout on the floor. It's a rolling timeout, and it will just enable those 5 subs to get out there. Sort of a wholesale change for UPG.
I'm sure you're used to that working at John Carroll.
There is another team in this conference, you're right, that team tends to do that quite a bit. Mike Moran, the almost 25-year head coach of the John Carroll Blue Streaks. They have done that for years and years, and it's worked for them. 3-ball on the right side from Kuhn, and it's good. 23-13. So 5 new faces out there for Pitt-Greensburg as Cody Spade and Brady Kingston try to lead the charge. This is Kyle Bondi, the team's leading scorer, in the middle of the paint for 2. A little surprised not to see Bondi in the starting lineup, if I'm being honest with you. He has started 6 of the 7 games on the year entering today. Maybe they were just trying to find a new look.
Yeah, you never know. I mean, Kyle started with a few freshmen tonight, maybe just trying to switch things up. So
Tyler Colombo put in that basket for the Yellow Jackets. So the lead is 10 for Baldwin Wallace, and we are not yet halfway through the opening half. Brendan Gulick alongside Eric Kwiatkowski. One of the final non-conference games of the year for Baldwin Wallace, and again, when this game got on the schedule last year, BW probably looked at this one and said, you know what, that could be a real measuring stick for us. High off the glass and good for Blake Shields. It's 25-17. The difference, though, that one off season made for UPG, and they have really struggled here in the 2016 portion of this calendar year. Battle into the corner. 3-ball up and good. Mike Kaminsky joins the party. 28-17, Baldwin Wallace.
You know, they're moving the ball so efficiently, it's easy to get open shots when you're passing the ball that crisp.
Spade to the left side where Bondi tries to go right back to him. Spade nearly walked with the basketball. Instead, jarred it out of his hands. And the Bobcats have it along the baseline. Sean Strickland standing in front of his own bench, arms folded over his chest. Sure, he's at least appreciating the effort with which the Bobcats are playing. But a few too many turnovers, it's cost them here in the early part of this game. Battle for three. He did not connect. Blake Shields pulls in the rebound. Largest lead of the game for Baldwin Wallace is 11 points. Pitt-Greensburg shooting the ball okay, 8 of 14 from the floor. But again, the problem is they've turned the ball over too many times. 4. They have not forced a turnover. Make it 5. Kaminsky in transition, finds a teammate. And there's an easy foul call against Kyle Bondi. That was Kyle Nader running the length of the floor, former Vermilion high school player.
Right alongside Cam Kuhn there at Vermilion.
Speaking of Kuhn, he checks out. And the red-hot Michael Curing back on the floor. Curing's hit 3 of 5 shots for 9 points, all from beyond the arc. Jay Battle spots up. Bang! 31-17. The Yellow Jackets are on fire from beyond the arc.
Pitt-Greensburg just isn't getting out the shooters. They're not putting a hand up. It just seems easy for the Jackets right now.
7 3-pointers in the opening 9.5 minutes of the game. Into the middle of the paint. Beautiful finger roll over the front of the rim. Brady Kingston, the freshman, with great vision. And he's got his first points of the night, 31-19. Battle passes back to Curing, who calls for the screen. Battle needs a little help. Under 10 to shoot. He gets it open. Look. Hit again. How about 8 of 15 from beyond the arc?
They're not afraid to shoot him.
34-19. The Yellow Jackets have opened it up. Great feed underneath and in contact. Our officials said play on. Boy, Kyle Bondi with a tough finish. Brad Cavey, Rob Walgate, Michael Griffith are officials, and they were allowing the contact. 36-21 after the two teams exchanged baskets. The BW lead continues to grow. Another turnover. Not that time. Kingston the rebound. Bondi kicks out to the corner, and the three-point shot rattles away for Shields. Boy, these teams are playing at a furious pace at the moment. Another basket put in by Tyler Colombo, his second basket of the night. 4 points, and it's a 17-point lead for Baldwin Wallace. Battle steals another pass. My goodness. He finishes for 2. It's 40-21. UPG was only down 11-7. A couple of minutes into the game. Too many turnovers in the early going. 7 giveaways for Pitt-Greensburg, and they have not forced a single turnover. Even though the Bobcats are shooting it at a 56% clip, they're losing by 17 because BW has hit just as many good shots, and they've hit 7 more threes.
Yeah.
Lots of substitutions out there. We'll reset the floor for you in a moment. I think Pitt-Greensburg, for a while, felt that having freshman Nate Burt, the 7-footer in the middle, having him not on the floor may have been the better play because of the pace that the game was going at. But now you almost feel like you need to have him back in there to try and protect the rim.
Well, I think that's why they instituted that trap, too. They wanted to kind of slow down that offense getting back into the front court, but obviously that hasn't been working either.
Everybody jumped up and tried to tip the ball and ended up going back through the hoop for Jake Featherhoff. 42-21. We are under 8 minutes left in the first half, and the Yellow Jackets could not be playing any better. Up and in, that's a tough shot, and it went for Jay Grubb. Freshman's having a decent game so far with 5 points to lead the way. Nader back to battle up top. And it looks like Pitt-Greensburg's going to go to a zone look. Brandy was open for a second. And a foul just at the last second. It goes on the big fella, Nate Burt. That's just the second foul of the entire game. We've played almost 13 minutes.
Great jump stop to get into the lane. You know, that 7-footer is so intimidating. You want to find any way around him, and that jump stop was just enough to throw him a little bit off balance.
First free throw up and good. So it's a 20-point lead for the Yellow Jackets. My goodness.
It's come so fast.
Well, it feels like it's come so fast because the pace of this game has been electrifying. Nader again, and he connects. 44-23. Baldwin Wallace has totally turned things on. It was 23-13. BW is outscoring UPG 29-10 since the timeout called by the Bobcats a few minutes into the game. Battle on the far side. Bounces with a great look to Featherhoff, who went up and underneath. He avoided Burt's outstretched arms, and Featherhoff makes it 46-23.
He made that pass look so easy, but I'll tell you what, that is not an easy pass to get into that lane right by all those long arms.
Well, and the Yellow Jackets surrender a basket, but they do so knowing that with that kind of a cushion, there's no reason to try and slap a hand on him. Sometimes if you get beat, you just let them have it. And Baldwin Wallace has chosen to basically play the game today where we'll let you score, but we're going to beat you up the floor the other way and get you right back. 5 to shoot. Battle needs some help. He gets a screen, pops with a hand in his face, was off to the left.
The way things are going, I wouldn't have been surprised if that went down.
Mancini turns it over. 3-on-2. Battle feeds Nader, who finished at the rim. Tough play. Nader went right after the rack.
I'll tell you, Nader's one of those players that loves to get out in transition, and if he gets the chance, he will not be afraid to throw one down. He can definitely get up there.
Out of bounds, and it stays on that half of the floor. Baldwin Wallace will bring Ben Chase into the ball game. Kyle Nader has his seat for a moment. The Jackets have hit 56% from the floor, and they've allowed Pitt-Greensburg to shoot at a 54.5% clip. But the difference is that Baldwin Wallace hasn't turned the ball over one time in the opening 14.5 minutes of this game, and they forced 8 turnovers, scoring 10 points off those 8 turnovers. Haven't really even had too many second chance opportunities as the 3 ball was launched right side and it misfired. Mancini was too strong. After just checking in, now Brandy gets the receiving end of the pass. 3 ball off the mark. Here it comes from Chase. No good. 3 ball this time from UPG. Deflects away and Burt goes over the top. They'll fire again. Nope. Don't blame Kyle Bondi for trying to hoist it.
No.
Though he's only hit 5 of 13 triples on the season so far. Battle with a beautiful feed. That back door was wide open. Alex Nara waiting and waiting. And he cashed in. He's got 8 in the first half.
He's been great. All of them coming from layups, from backdoor passes, nice little shovel passes on the inside of that zone. So it's been great to see him get involved, find those easy layups.
Bondi, too strong. You know, one of the other things that, interestingly enough, is hurting UPG this year, on the glass, they're being out-rebounded by almost 12 rebounds per game. Well, they're -6 on the glass so far in the first half, and if that holds, that would certainly continue to be the case. You don't usually expect that when you see the kind of size in Nate Burt, as he was just beat again up and underneath. 27-point lead, my goodness. 10 points for Nera. He's having a tremendous game. Might be one of the best games of his career so far. Loose top of the key.
His career high is 11, and that came against Marietta, that great game against Marietta. So I wouldn't be surprised if he broke it here in the first half.
Right to the rack. Chase with a beautiful feed for Fedorov.
Fedorov can definitely run the floor. He can stretch the floor. He's been great. Definitely one of the centerpieces of this Jacket team.
No good on the 3 from the right corner. Tried to be fairly Bobcat focused here in the early going, but how can you not appreciate what Baldwin Wallace is doing offensively? Shooting at a 56% clip. Chase tried to hit their 9th 3 of the first half. Nara gets called for the over-the-back foul with just under 3 minutes to go.
We'll finally see Cam Kuhn checking back into the ball game. We haven't seen him since the first few minutes.
Here comes Jordan Richardson as well, the 6'4" junior forward out of Beechwood.
We'll also see sophomore Wes Gerhardt checking the ball game for the first time.
So they reset things on the floor. Nice spin move, but came a little too softly out of Blake Shields' right hand. UPG continues the possession. Oh, what a feed into the middle. But David Knox couldn't find Cody Spade to get it down. Jackets trying to make it more than 30. Chase, too strong. The Bobcats going the other direction. And it rolls off the side of the rim as Richardson pulls it in. Just about 2 minutes left in this first half. Chase pumped from 3, found a lane. Had a chart out of his hands, he picked it up and threw it in the can. Can you believe it? 56-25.
Ben Chase has his career high as a Yellow Jacket with 2 points now.
UPG trying to just get something going. They've got to take better care of the basketball as another sloppy turnover from Blake Shields brings the Jackets back up the floor, and Cam Kuhn makes them pay for it. 58-25. Baldwin Wallace is on a 12-0 run. 3 ball finally rattles home for Zach Maxwell. A rolling timeout just to make a substitution. Chase gets a couple of high fives from his teammates. Nara heads off the floor, and he'll be replaced.
What a first half he had.
He sure has. Freshman Tyler Colombo, whose sister last night for the Lady Jackets had a career high 25 at Heidelberg.
Yeah.
McKenzie was on fire as the Yellow Jackets overcame a 1-point halftime deficit to beat the Heidelberg Student Princes by 15 last night. That was the first turnover of the entire half. We played 19 minutes of basketball.
Very impressive.
It's a winning formula.
Yep, absolutely. That and making 9 threes in the first half doesn't hurt either.
Spade goes back out top. Shields used his dribble. Under a minute to play before halftime. Maxwell has to pull up, and he's too short. Cam Kuhn just out racing everybody up the floor. He didn't give away his idea to pass that one off either. Kuhn fakes. Mid-range jumper is pure. 60-28.
How about a 60-point first half?
Jackets coming the other way. Shot clock is off. Beautiful feed to Richardson. He couldn't get it. The tip from Colombo didn't go. Still a couple seconds left. David Knox, the half-court heave is too far to the right. Wow. A crazy pace in the first half, and the Yellow Jackets have literally run Pitt-Greensburg out of the gym. It's 60-28 at the intermission. We'll take a quick timeout. When we come back, we'll give you some of the halftime numbers. All Baldwin Wallace at home on BWYellowJackets.com.
Today, you're living. You've got living to do.
You need to move the way you want to move.
And do the things you want to do. Pain-free.
So if something hurts, let Cleveland Clinic help.
With the best orthopedic care in Ohio.
Today, we're here for you.
Welcome back on BWYellowJackets.com, where Baldwin Wallace torched the Bobcats in the first half, 60-28. The good news for Bobcat fans is that there's still half the game in front of them, and they are coming off of one of their better offensive efforts all year, and they shot the ball pretty well up until the last couple of minutes of the second half, which kind of hurt that percentage. Pitt-Greensburg was actually shooting at a 54% clip for a little while, and then it kind of started to trend downward after a poor final couple minutes of the half. You almost wonder if that high pace kind of started to get to them.
We talked about the turnovers, and that's ultimately what's led to their downfall here in the first half. So
some of the numbers from the first half are a little bit alarming. It's a 60-28 first half lead. Baldwin Wallace hit 25 of 46 shots, 25 baskets in 20 minutes. And of the 25, 8 of them were three-pointers. Leading scorers, Cam Kuhn with 10. Freshman Michael Curing, I should say, and Alex Nara had 9 and 8 respectively. 8 points for Jake Featheroff, 8 more for Jay Battle, 6 off the bench for Kyle Nader. It seemed like everybody contributed for BW.
I was just going to say 10 different players have scored for BW, and that hasn't happened in a long time. So very impressive offensive output for the Jackets in the first half, and I wouldn't be surprised for it to continue in the second.
Baldwin Wallace had 17 assists on those 25 made baskets. They shot it at a 54% clip in the opening period. Pitt-Greensburg, 39% shooting. Their leading scorer, 6 points from Matt Zanella. He hit 3 of 5 from the floor. But a number of other players cashed in, 4 apiece from Nate Burt and Kyle Bondi, 3 points apiece from Jay Grubb and from Zach Maxwell. Blake Shields, Brady Kingston, David Knox, and Joe Mancini all had 2. Mancini's kind of had a frustrating day. He's only hit 1 of 6, but he's got a couple of rebounds, and he turned the ball over 2 of the team's 10 times in the first half.
Yeah, it's tough, you know. We talked about their offense, the Jacket offense being so powerful, but the way they're forcing turnovers and getting those easy baskets in transition is why they're winning this game ultimately.
Pitt-Greensburg's had some looks. Theirs just haven't gone down, and then, of course, the 10 turnovers and the double-digit points off turnovers for the Yellow Jackets certainly haven't helped their cause. The 10 turnovers have directly led to 14 Baldwin Wallace points. The only BW turnover the entire first half came 19 minutes into the 20-minute first half.
Yeah.
You go 19 minutes without turning the ball over. I don't care if you're shooting the ball well or not. Most of the time, you're going to find yourself ahead.
Yeah, and it just rolled out of bounds and what didn't lead to anything. So it was, very impressive the way they took care of the ball and were able to, take care of the ball. It was great.
Couple of guys to keep your eye on in the second half for BW. Alex Nera is having a career game with 8 points and 7 rebounds, and Jake Featherolf averages nearly 12 and 12 a game. He easily averages a double-double. He's got 8 points and 6 rebounds so far. 4 assists, by the way, for Jay Battle, who only played 10 minutes in that first half. 60-28, our score at the break. We'll come back in about 9 minutes with our play-by-play of the second half, and we'll give you a key to the second half before we get into it. That's coming up shortly. The Jackets way out front. Back after this on BWYellowJackets.com. Second half action for the Baldwin Wallace Yellow Jackets with a 60-28 lead over the University of Pittsburg at Greensburg. If you joined us late, I'm Brendan Gulick along with Eric Kwiatkowski, and I'll tell you what, we've had an offensive explosion to watch tonight, on top of the fact that it's a 32-point scoring difference in the first half. It was that impressive from BW because of the 8 3-pointers, some of the shots they hit early on, the fact that they only turned the ball over once. I don't know if there really is a perfect half of basketball.
Yeah.
That was pretty close.
Yeah, absolutely. They kept up a great pace throughout that entire half and kept up the pressure on this young team, which definitely didn't help the Bobcats in that first half. So,
all right, we'll keep our eye on how things go as the second half gets underway. Baldwin Wallace moving left to right in their white uniforms here at home. Cam Kuhn had 10 points in the first half to lead all scorers. He was the only guy in double figures. Feather-Off. Blocked on the baseline. Matt Zanella got his paws on it. Brandy for three, and he makes him hit it. Even after the Bobcats think they got to stop because of the block, Zach Brandy puts one in from deep.
feels like deja vu from the first half.
Bondi raises, and he does not get the friendly roll. Here comes Cam Kuhn and the Jackets. Kuhn zigzagging his way up the floor. Featherall for three. It's good again. 2 3-balls in the opening minute of the second half, and Baldwin Wallace has picked things up right where they left off. Bobcats top of the arc. Bondi, the team's leading scorer, averaging almost 15 a game, and he has been really nullified tonight. UPG with a chance. Baseline jump shot too long. Not a bad look, though, from Bondi. Baldwin Wallace by 38. Brandy from the middle of the paint. This is Nara, and he hits a three. Unbelievable. 69-28. 3 for 3 from beyond the arc in the opening 90 seconds of the second half. Right to the rim. The Bobcats get 2 from Brady Kingston, but it is all the Jacket sharpshooters stealing the spotlight tonight. Nara on the low post, spins and puts it in.
Nice to see them get inside a little bit in the first half, or in the second half.
How about the first 2 minutes of the second half, an 11-0 run out of the gate. Bobcats trying to just take this thing one possession at a time and build on some good things. At the moment, they don't have too much to build on, but working on that. Kingston feeds into the middle of the paint, and Grubb drew some contact. I think it went on Curing. Sure did, his first. First foul of the second half.
You know, we talked about the pace in the first half. There were also only 3 fouls. 3 total fouls committed in the first half. I mean, you don't see that very often.
It was a clean game from BW's perspective in just about every facet. They turned the ball over 1 time in 20 minutes. They didn't foul anybody with any great frequency.
What more
They
could you
were
ask
plus
for?
13 on the glass at the intermission. Both free throws, no good. That's been a struggling spot for the Bobcats all year, averaging 55% from the stripe so far this season. Cam Kuhn attacks the can and puts it in. And this second half belongs to BW. They're off to a 13-2 run to start the half. Good hard spin underneath, and that one rolls around, and it's good for Jay Grubb. So Grubb has kind of gotten to work. And if you're the Bobcats right now, I think because of the way the second half started and the way the first half closed, you don't ever really feel like you're totally out of a game. But down 41 points, you're trying to just shorten things up and take it, I guess you would say it at the Division I level where you have consistent media timeouts where you're kind of stopping every 4 minutes for TV or radio coverage. You're almost trying to just win those 4-minute segments and try to slow the game down. Brandy goes coast to coast and puts it in with the left hand. But now you get to this point in the game where the game is being played at such a furious pace. You got to try to slow things down somehow.
Well, you can't really build off anything down 40 points, you know. It's really been tough for this team, but hopefully they can, you know, find a way to at least put some points on the board, make this a little more interesting, and, you know, build on some things like you said.
Zanella's got 6. Kuhn circles around. Brandy back up top. Nara for 3. Had a good look at it. Kuhn ripped away the rebound in traffic. He forced it up, and it almost dropped for him. Foul, I believe, goes on Bondi. Kyle Bondi just picked up his 2nd. So Cam Kuhn to the stripe. And while we have a second to sing his praises, how impressive has Cam Kuhn not just been this season, but for this program, as Tom Heil is basically using him as his cornerstone in his 2nd year as the leader of the Jackets.
Yeah, totally. He came in as a complete scorer, ready to score. But these past few years, he's been able to transition into more of a leader and not necessarily a pass-first type of guy, but like the leadership role where he can take control of a game in more than just one facet. And I think that's been really great for him.
Kuhn's got 13, and he can make it 14. 77-34. After a couple of substitutions, Jay Battle probably the most notable for those that came on for Baldwin Wallace. But Colombo in there along with Brandy and Richardson. And the rebound pulled in by Nara. Beautiful pass up the floor. Richardson's right underneath, but he's got a 7-foot giant tree in front of him. The Jackets turn it over there for just the 2nd time all game, and an easy foul whistled against Mike Kaminsky. I beg your pardon, I think I said Nara a minute ago. It's Kaminsky that's in the game. Kaminsky did a good job at that point. Look, if you're going to foul him, don't let him score, and Mancini couldn't get the ball to fall through. The other thing that I think is most impressive to me at this point in the season, and look, it's only the 8th game of the year for Baldwin Wallace, but their depth has been really special.
Absolutely. Having the ability to have freshmen come off the bench and contribute in so many different ways, like Nara and Kearing, just shows, you know, how much confidence Tom Heil has in each one of his players, no matter what age or ability they have, you know.
BW's 2 setbacks early in the season came to the 4th-ranked team in the country, Marietta, who is receiving first-place votes. They've had a tremendous year, beating 2 top 10 teams handily as Pitt-Greensburg kicks the basketball. They beat Worcester, and they beat Christopher Newport, both at their place. And the less impressive of those wins was 24 points.
And, I mean, they came here and beat us pretty handily. You know, the score didn't necessarily show the whole game here, but, you know, they came in this house as well and beat us as well. So they're a great team down there, always have been, and they continue to get better each year. So
Kyle Nader for 3. Well, and I'll fight you on that for a second. They have been for the last several years, but not always. John Vanderwall totally changed that program in the 2010-2011 season. They were awful for several years until John Vanderwall got there. Kevin Knabb and Trevor Halter, 2 All-Americans, got healthy, and he brought a freshman point guard in named Tyler Hammond, who's a Cleveland area kid. He went to St. Ignatius High School. Tyler Hammond really changed things for them, and they went to the Sweet 16 that year, and now everybody looks at Marietta as being a national powerhouse. But give John Vanderwall a lot of credit, because that program was not in a good place when he took it over. And they are one of the premier programs in D3 basketball at this point.
You know, you talked about Kevin Knabb. He's actually from my high school, Lakewood High School.
He went to Lakewood, you're right.
Yep. And he came back a lot of the time, being able to show what Marietta has meant to him and how much it really changed him as a person. And I think that's been great, you know, not only for Marietta, but for the whole OAC in that respect.
83-35 as Kaminsky throws in another triple. We're about 6 minutes into the second half, and Baldwin Wallace is just having their way tonight with the Pitt-Greensburg Bobcats. This is a Pitt-Greensburg group that won the Heartland Conference. I beg your pardon. They won the AMCC last year, the Allegheny Mountain Collegiate Conference, for the first time ever. And they went to their first ever NCAA tournament last year. Unfortunately, they didn't leave the tournament with a happy taste in their mouths. But look, with what they accomplished last year, just a tremendously successful season for them. And I'm certain that helped recruiting efforts for Sean Strickland. But when you've got 12 of your 16 players as underclassmen, something tells me that you're going to go through some early struggles. And maybe they're getting a chance here to see a Baldwin Wallace team that has been really impressive in the beginning part of this season. Good strong move going to the basket. Blake Shields for two, 83-37. Half. Pitt-Greensburg has forced a couple of turnovers, but Kaminsky is about as hot as could be, and it doesn't really matter right now. 86-37. Are you kidding? Spade almost walked. Gets a second look at it, and he put it in. 86-39. 14 of 28 from beyond the three-point line tonight for the host Jackets. Kaminsky commanding that respect. He steps off to the left and puts one in.
You said it, when you make a couple jump shots, it opens up your whole game. You're able to, pump fake that jump shot and get the defender to bite on that pump fake. So great move by Kaminsky.
The other loss that Baldwin Wallace suffered after, wanted to give him a moment. Blake Shields had a couple looks. He just couldn't put it in, but he drew the foul. Anyways, the other loss that the Jackets suffered that actually came in their last game and kind of left some BW fans scratching their heads. They lost in overtime to Muskingum. And if you follow the OAC with any real scrutiny, Muskingum is perennially, if not the worst team in the conference. There's usually a fight for the worst team in the conference. They've won 3 games in conference the last 3 years combined. You play 18 conference games a year, and they're already 2-1 after at the outset of this conference season, beating BW and beating John Carroll. They kind of beat John Carroll handily. They beat BW in overtime, and all reports are that Muskingum is actually a pretty athletic group. As Battle just casually throws in the 15th three of the night to make this game 91-40. But anyways, I think it's good for the conference that Muskingum is starting to come around a little bit.
Yeah, any time you get that team that kind of comes out of nowhere, it brings excitement to the whole conference.
Coast to coast, it's up and in. Zach Sebula. Everybody's getting involved for Baldwin Wallace. 93-42. The second half started with an 11-0 run in the first 2 minutes, and BW just hasn't let go. Pitt-Greensburg's only hit 2 3-pointers. This might be one of those games where no matter what the records of the team coming in are, everybody across the conference is going to see what Baldwin Wallace has done tonight and go, wait just a second.
Yeah.
All of a sudden, this team looks like they are world beaters.
Yeah, we talked about, Pitt-Greensburg. Their scoring margin is minus 24. They're losing by 24 points a game. But this is a completely different shout. This is 50 points.
Jay Battle gives it up top, and they'll rework things. Baldwin Wallace has scored 93 points in 30 minutes. That one goes out of bounds and goes back the other direction. We hope you'll stick around for our post-game coverage, which is still a little ways off, but we will check in with Tom Heil after the game. Coach Heil will go in and address his team briefly and then come over and join us for a couple of minutes post-game. So hopefully he'll stick around to hear what I would imagine would be his easiest post-game interview ever. Put it up and in. Cody Spade connects, and he's got a couple of points. 4 for him now in the ball game. 93-44, and I hope I don't mean that in a disrespectful way. Hope it doesn't come across that way to Pitt-Greensburg. I realize they're out here working hard and trying to make things happen, but this is about as one-sided as you could really draw it up. 95-44 as Colombo throws one in the jar. That one didn't fall. David Knox too short. Baldwin Wallace just keeps pushing the tempo. Up and under and a foul. Kyle Nader had a full head of steam going at the rack and decided he would try to go underneath, and it just didn't drop in for him. That's the first foul of the game recorded by Cody Spade. Third foul of the half by Pitt-Greensburg. If you joined us late, I'm Brendan Gulick alongside Eric Kwiatkowski tonight. Got a couple more games coming your way before the Christmas holiday on BWYellowJackets.com. On Saturday, you'll see the Yellow Jacket men take on a really impressive team year after year. The Capital Crusaders, led by one of the winningest coaches in Division III, Damon Goodwin. His teams always are strong. Of course, Damon himself was an excellent player at the University of Dayton, where he is in the Flyers Hall of Fame. Capital coming to town for a OAC showdown, and it's a big one. And then on Monday, the 19th, the Yellow Jacket women will host Ohio Wesleyan. That'll be the final. Freshman Isaiah Zeiss. So it stays with UPG. Anyways, the Battling Bishops from Delaware, Ohio, the Ohio Wesleyan Battling Bishops, they'll come to town on Monday night as UPG turns it over. That'll be the final broadcast before the Christmas holiday. 25th, the next time the Jackets take the floor, both the men and women are hosting the first ever BW Holiday Invitational. We'll have 8 games in 2 days for you on the 29th and 30th. And we will broadcast the games in which Baldwin Wallace is not playing. So if you're interested in some tournament basketball, we'll have that for you too, as Richardson muscles it up and in and one. 99-44. Baldwin Wallace has a chance to put 100 points on the board in basically 31 minutes. No, it didn't fall in. Colombo into the corner. 3 ball is too long. By the way, that 3 ball came out of Wes Gerhardt's hands. We haven't seen too much of him tonight, but he's made a couple of appearances.
Another liquid product.
That's right. Zeiss gives into the paint. And the rebound ricochets around a few times. Stays with the Bobcats as Bondi steps into a 3. And Richardson pulls it free. 8:30 left in the game. Baldwin Wallace leads by 55 points. Richardson saved it to a Bobcat. Bondi, coast to coast. Nice roll off the window. All the way the other direction. It did not fall for Ben Chase.
You know, it kind of seemed to slow down for a second, and then it just picked right back up again. It's been incredible.
After BW finishes up the BW Invitational, their first game in the new calendar year will be on the road in Alliance against the Mount Union Purple Raiders. That's a 7 o'clock game on January the 4th. And from that point on, it's OAC action all the way through from the beginning of January until February 18th, when the 18-game schedule against the OAC finishes up.
We talked about it before the game. That's going to be an exciting month and a half of basketball. I mean, this conference is wide open. I know Marietta's at the top right now, number 4 team in the nation, but I mean, this campaign is going to be wide open for any team.
Gerhardt back to the top. Sebula circles around and gives to Ben Chase with 5 to shoot. He'll let it fly deep, just off the mark. Bondi wants to go all the way. And one. Chase tried to set himself, and he did not. He kind of leaned into the incoming layup. So it's 99-48. Seen a couple straight baskets now for the Bobcats. Matt Zanella gets a quick breather. Zach Maxwell, the 6'6" sophomore forward, is the biggest player out on the floor at the moment. And that's probably a good thing for the Bobcats because they need to be able to run the floor. Gerhardt with good ball control in the forecourt. I think he's the only guy with his jersey untucked at the moment. Dylan Nito tried to knock it through, and it just rattled away. An offensive foul away from the ball, sends it back the other way. Baldwin Wallace with 45 points from their bench. Remember what I said earlier about depth? Through the left side. Nice move with the right hand from Brady Kingston. Kingston makes it 99-50. 6 unanswered points for the Bobcats. Well, BW's just having one of those nights shooting. 15 of 32 from beyond the arc. You make it 15 of 33 after that one did not go through for Sebula. Mason Ettinger could not maintain possession. So here comes Troy Massa. Jeremy Holly is playing in the post for BW as he goes up to set that high screen for Gerhardt. He slips right past him. Massa back to Gerhardt. 10 to let it fly. Wide open. Massa puts it in. 102-50. On the left wing, Grubb. Contested, but he puts it in anyways. Good defense.
Seeing the Bobcat offense pick up a little bit here.
I think they've had a better second half.
Yeah.
Nice move by Gerhardt through the paint. Silky smooth to the rack. What a play. You know, you start to see plays like that from guys that don't play a lot, and it just energizes everybody on the whole team.
When we talk about depth, I mean, you saw it right there. Anyone can pull off a move. These guys are all capable guys, and you know that just, I think, shows the recruiting ability of Tom Heil and his staff and what they've been able to put together here. So,
foul was committed on the play by Wes Gerhardt. Actually, you know what? I think they may have tagged Dylan Nito with it instead. Free throw is off the rim, no good, and Pitt-Greensburg has hit only 2 of 8 from the stripe in this one. Couple of substitutions back for the blue and gold. And the free throw's good. So Mancini and Kingston are still the guards on the floor for Pitt-Greensburg. Blake Shields comes back in the ball game. Jay Grubb, the freshman forward, still in the middle of the paint. And Kyle Bondi is there too. Dylan Nito decides he wants to pull the rim down. 106-53.
I mean, that came out of nowhere.
Basket there from Shields. There aren't too many things that have really woken up this crowd the way that just did. Nito backside, and he'll lay this one in. 108-55. 4 points for Dylan Nito, the St. Ignatius High School product. Jackets off and running, and Nito had his pocket pick there. Just under 4.5 minutes left to go in regulation. This is exactly what Baldwin Wallace needed after losing to Muskingum. And again, look, on one hand, you have to give the Muskies credit because by all accounts, their 6-1 record at the beginning of the season is no fluke. They really do appear to be a pretty good team. But there still is that black cloud that hangs over the idea that Muskingum isn't very competitive. When you lose to a team that's only won 3 conference games in 3 years, I don't care if they're good this year or not, it doesn't feel good. And so for BW, tonight was the kind of answer they needed to just get back on the right track, knowing they've got a huge game against Capital coming Saturday. Under 4 minutes to play. Massa dribbling around. Nito back up top, and Massa tries a three. Clanks it too long, but rebound pulled in by Sebula. Nice feed. Jeremy Holly makes it 110-55. Pitt-Greensburg's defense has picked it up a little bit in the second half, forcing BW into just a few more mistakes they made in the first half, but it's been almost a perfect night of basketball for the brown and gold. Well, Gerhardt got clocked going to the hoop, and he's got free throws coming.
He's not the biggest player, saying it kindly, but he's definitely not afraid to take it amongst the trees and get to the rack. So.
All right, so we look at the schedule upcoming for Pitt-Greensburg. And after tonight's game, they're going to play Waynesburg in PA. That ball game coming up later this week. They'll play them on Saturday. Then they get back into the AMCC, and they'll play Penn State Barron. And that's their final game before Christmas. Then they head down to Christopher Newport, which is a really cool place, by the way. If you've never been down to Newport News, Virginia, and the greater Virginia Beach area, Christopher Newport is really good. They're a top 5 team in the country for good reason. They're going to play the captains, and then they're going to play another team in that tournament right before the end of the new year, and then they'll be in conference play the rest of the way. But I think it's safe to say the Bobcats have really scheduled a tough non-conference slate. Even the game against Geneva or even Westminster and Teal in the beginning of the season.
I guess that, as a bunch of freshmen, that's one of the best things that you can do is to play the best.
Holly slams down another. 114-55. From the left corner, first time we've seen Jake Kittner all game for Pitt-Greensburg. That one bobbled around underneath, and it pinballs out of bounds. Holly will check out with that $1 million smile on his face. And his teammates are going to give him a standing O over on the bench. 2.5 minutes left in the game. Kittner at the point. Fires right side, Grubb. Bobcats not really creating a lot of space. They got to shoot quickly. And the shot clock expires. I think they lost track of the fact that when the ball went out of bounds, it never hit the rim. And so the shot clock never reset.
That's just growing pains.
Baldwin Wallace took control of this game right away. They had 8 points in the first 90 seconds of the game with a couple of threes. The bucket goes in there along the right side of the baseline to make it 116-55. Ben Seaman, the freshman from Canton Jackson, put that one in. Actually, I beg your pardon, that was not Ben Seaman, but there is somebody wearing the number 11 for Baldwin Wallace tonight, and I don't believe there's an 11 on their roster. So somebody else is wearing a different jersey. We'll have to figure that one out. Seaman is in there, though. He's running the point wearing number 10. Seaman's got the ball at the right elbow. It's jarred free. Nice move going all the way to the rack by Isaiah Zeiss. 116-57. Chase for three. He put it in. 16 three-pointers tonight. And a Bobcat turnover. This is becoming a game Bobcat fans will certainly not forget because they've seen a good team tonight. But I'm pretty sure this is a game that's going to go down in record books for the Yellow Jackets. The most points they've ever scored in a half, as that one did not fall through. 71 points in a half against Westminster back in 05-06. Now, BW is not going to quite get to that tonight. The most points they'd ever scored in the first half of a game was 64. They had 60 in the first half tonight. Free throw's good to make it 120-57. If you're wondering the record for points scored in a game, BW had 133 in that game against Westminster back in the 05-06 season. So unlikely that the Jackets are going to score 12 more points in the final 45 seconds, but nevertheless, one of the most impressive games in a decade for Baldwin Wallace tonight. Spade puts it in. It's 121-59. And while it's easy to look at the offense because it steals a lot of the headlines with all the three-pointers, don't forget about how well BW's played defensively tonight. 8 on the shot clock, about a 7-second difference. And right underneath the basket, the ball fell away. Baldwin Wallace will let that one deflect out of bounds. Again, we'll talk to head coach Tom Heil after he addresses his team in the locker room. A last-second hoist goes up, and there's the final horn. Your final score tonight, Baldwin Wallace 121, Pitt-Greensburg 59. An incredible performance by the Yellow Jackets. They hit 56% from the floor and hit 17 three-pointers tonight. Just a tremendous game, one shy of the all-time school record of three-pointers made in a game. Again, your final score, Baldwin Wallace 121, Pitt-Greensburg 59. We'll have our post-game coverage, including a talk with Tom Heil when we come back on BWYellowJackets.com. Back on BWYellowJackets.com, where Baldwin Wallace has a game that Jacket fans won't soon forget. One of the most explosive offensive performances in school history, combined with a tremendous effort defensively. The Yellow Jackets rout the Pitt-Greensburg Bobcats 121-59. Baldwin Wallace scored 60 points in the first half. They had 61 in the second half. and played equally as good a defense, holding a team under 60 points. No matter what you do offensively, it has to be considered a good day. But with what BW did offensively and their depth today, Eric, really impressive.
Yeah, 18 different players scoring tonight. That's a feat that not many teams can accomplish. And when you have that type of depth off the bench to come in and make an impact, even if you're a freshman through senior, it's just very impressive.
BW with 121 points. They hit 47 of 84 and had 31 assists on those 47 baskets. 17 three-pointers, one shy of the school record when they had 18 against Mount Union back a few seasons ago. And the Jackets took care of business at the free throw line, connecting on 10 of 11. Nobody individually really stood out. It was 6 different players that actually scored more than 10 points. Alex Nera leading the way with 15 and 9. We saw Jake Featheroff with an 11.8 rebound performance. 14 from Cam Kuhn, though truth be told, he didn't do a lot in the second half. Only 4 points once we hit the intermission. And then 11 apiece coming off the bench from Kyle Nader and Mike Kaminsky. Jay Battle with 11 points off the bench, and he also had 8 assists, so really nice day for him.
Really, we talked about it before the game, this team having to kind of lean on their older players, Cam Kuhn and Jake Featheroff. It's really nice to see them almost get a night off and have the rest of the guys contribute to that win. So I think that's a great accomplishment for them.
Pitt-Greensburg connected on just 40% shooting, 27 of 67 from the floor. They were led 9 points apiece from Kyle Bondi and Blake Shields. They both came off the bench tonight. Matt Zanella had 8 on 4 of 8 shooting. Pitt-Greensburg had 17 turnovers next to just 5 assists. Baldwin Wallace with a pretty positive number in that regard, 31 assists and only 6 turnovers tonight for the Jackets. We have a chance here to be joined by head coach Tom Heil. We certainly appreciate you stopping by.
Happy to be here, man.
I have to imagine you're happy to be here. How about the performance offensively your team just had? We can go through numbers all day, but when 18 different guys score, and when you have 31 assists compared to just 6 turnovers, no matter where the baskets are coming from, I know it's a good night.
That's pretty proud of that. I think our guys are ready to play. We've been we had a tough loss on Saturday, and it gave us a chance, I think, to kind of reevaluate, get back to doing some things the right way that we think will make us play the way we want to play. And I think our guys had 2 great days of practice, and sharing the ball is a big deal to us, and I don't think we've been doing it to the highest level over the course of the season thus far. It was really a focus the last 2 days, and I think our guys did a great job. We've got some guys that can really score and make some plays, and I think getting not just a good shot, but a great one is something we really want to emphasize. And I'm proud of our guys, man. They responded. I feel like we had a bunch of assists.
Well, Sean Strickland has kind of prided his group on playing at a high energy, a high pace. That's what they did all year last year when they won their conference championship. And it seemed like your guys were willing to not just play at that pace, but do it for 40 minutes, and you ran them out of the gym.
I do feel like we've got some depth, and I'm pretty confident in our top 10 right now. And even really, we've got some guys that aren't even in our regular rotation that I think are pretty good players, and I'm proud of the way we were ready to play. I feel like we're in pretty good shape, and we can play up and down. The reality is, I think if you're going to play in the OAC, you've got to be able to win games a lot of different ways. You've got to be able to get up and down, and there's some teams in our league that press. There's some teams in our league that are going to slow you down and really execute. There's some big physical teams. There's some small athletic teams. So you get a little bit of everything, and I think everybody that plays in the OAC tries to structure their group as a group that can play different ways. And I think we can do that. I think we still have some room to improve. But I am proud of the way we played at a high pace tonight, up and down, and our guys still took care of the ball, which is if you can play fast and take care of it, that's fun basketball.
You talked about that depth that you guys have. Talk about Alex Nara and I think it was Michael Keering coming into the starting lineup today and making a difference right off the bat.
Yeah, those 2 guys are freshmen, and both are really, really good players. Alex is a 6'7". He's obviously has to put a little weight on. He's a freshman. You can tell physically he's a little skinny, but he's much stronger than he looks. He's good in the weight room. He's gonna get stronger. He can do some things there's not a lot of guys at our level that can do. He can score it at all 3 levels. He shoots it from 3. He's got handle. He can drive it at you. He can score it, in the mid range and in the post, and he can get it all the way to the basket and score it around the hoop. We think he's got a chance to be really, really good. So he adds a little bit of a versatility kind of at the 4 for us. And Michael Quiring is a really pure point guard. I mean, that's the reason he's in there. That's the reason he's going to play a lot of minutes. He can shoot it. He can score it. But he's got the mentality to be a point guard. He's going to make sure we're in what we need to be in. We've got some guys that can score. He's going to get him in the ball in the right positions, and he's also a bulldog on defense. I know he's only about 5'9", but I'm telling you, that kid's a competitor, and he's a very good defender. So. Pretty mature for a freshman, plays pretty mature. So we're excited about him. We worked pretty hard to get him, and we're excited that he's here.
Tom, before we let you go, with respect to Pitt-Greensburg's program, because of what they did last year, I'm sure when you put this game on the schedule, you were hoping this was going to be kind of a measuring stick for you of where you thought your guys could be before you get really into the meat of the OAC. It turns out, because of the loss to Muskingum, that this game sort of became a let's get back in the right direction. So knowing that you have Capital coming here on Saturday and the style of play that Damon Goodwin typically puts out there, what do you take from this game that you hope puts you in really good position moving into that game Saturday?
Yeah, Sean's a great friend of mine, and he does a great job, and they had a great year last year, and he's got a lot of young guys out there. They're going to get better. We're much more mature right now. We got some older guys and experience than they do. That's why the score is the way it was. They're going to be fine, and they're going to continue to improve. He's a great coach. But Damon does a great job at Capital. Those guys are going to be physical. They execute. They really make you guard them. They compete really hard defensively. The thing I hope we take from tonight, it's always really nice to see the ball go in the hoop. And I think we've played a really good schedule thus far, and we've won some good games. I mean, we've beat some good teams. New Jersey City's an NCAA tournament team, in my opinion. They're really good. We've played Marietta, Muskingum, and Heidelberg, obviously, and St. Mary's. We've played a tough schedule. So when you play good people early, sometimes it's hard. And you don't get a chance to really get confident shooting the ball because you're being defended well, and those games are like, they're back and forth, tough contests. So we obviously shot it well. We shared it. I hope that gives us some confidence. And we've got great shooters, man. We really do. And we shoot a lot of threes. It's a big part of our identity. We haven't been shooting it great, but we're going to be, and hopefully this can kind of get us going in the right direction. We had some guys knock in some shots. I'm telling you, we got some guys that can shoot it. And sometimes all you need to see is it go in a few times. So that's my hope, that we try to make all the shots we take. And, we're a good perimeter shooting team. So I hope that we did that tonight. I hope that can continue.
17 3-pointers tonight, 17. Shy of tying the school record, and the 121 points was pretty close to the ballpark of a school record for points in a game.
I did not know that
as well. So it was certainly an impressive night.
Yeah, proud of that.
Congratulations on a big win. Thanks for stopping by.
Appreciate it. Thanks.
All right, head coach Tom Heil of the Yellow Jackets. We'll give our final thoughts here before we wrap things up. Obviously a fun day for Baldwin Wallace, but I mean, you can look at it any way you want. The Yellow Jackets are going to have some momentum going into the heart of conference play after what they've done tonight.
Yeah, we talked about taking care of business tonight, and they definitely did that. It's a great centerpiece on moving forward, and hopefully this team continues to get better, and hopefully we'll see them competing for that OAC championship comes soon. For Eric Kwiatkowski, I'm Brendan Gulick. So long from Ursprung Gymnasium at Baldwin Wallace University, where the Yellow Jackets rout Pitt-Greensburg 121-59. BW moves to 6-2. Their next game comes your way Saturday afternoon when the Capital Crusaders come to town. We'll have that broadcast here for you on BWYellowJackets.com. Pitt-Greensburg falls to 0-8. They will head back on the road. They're going to Waynesburg in their next contest. Talk to you on Saturday. This has been a presentation of Yellow Jacket Basketball on BWYellowJackets.com. So long, everybody.